Hey guys, it's Nappy. I know it's been 4 months since I dropped on this channel, but we've been over at twitch.tv/aNappy doing our thing, grinding out the character that I'm about to talk about today. It's your boy Sin. So, if you like the tutorial, like, share, subscribe. It's only if you like the tutorial. It helps me out. It helps share this information out with other people, and it just helps me become a better content creator. But with that being said, I want to go right into why I'm doing this tutorial for Sin. I believe that I have enough games. I've been playing for him for a whole month, grinding him out like everybody else, and I've come to terms that this character is pretty solid. Now, he is upper mid. I don't think he's game breaking or anything, but he is a very good character. If we're talking gameplay wise, Sin is very easy to learn, but he gets very tricky when you're mastering him. Now, refer to the video that's on the screen right now. Sin is very good at catching people out because he has buttons like 2S. He has buttons like far S, his 5K, that are very long reaching normals compared to the rest of the cast that can catch people out. And he has advancing normals like 6HS that can get him as close as he can be, as well as some of his special moves like Beat Driver and Elk Hunt that can just go ahead and get him into a situation. Add that onto the follow-ups as well as the dash cancels that Sin also has, and you can keep your opponent guessing, as well as you can maintain as much pressure as you'll like. And that's what makes Sin a good character. Now, there is a con to it because I got to throw my cons out. The character is very reliant on stamina. He has 3 stamina bars. If you use all 3 of those stamina bars way too early, you can't put yourself in a situation like, let's say you want to get a hoof stall overhead. Well, even on hit, it's negative. So you can't do the follow-up, or you can't do something that'll put you in an advantageous situation because you don't have the stamina. So you have to be very aware of that and be able to maintain your meter, as well as being able to look at an opponent, see that you hit, and hit confirm at the right time to take advantage of the rush now. Because if you can't do 1 or 2 of those things, you're screwed. You're just playing a character that you could be playing Nagaryuki. I have to say it like that. But enough of that. Let's go into key moves of the character. So key moves that I want to talk about. Let's talk about his jab. Now, first and foremost, his 5P is good range, and you'll notice a lot of Sin's normals have good range. So his 5P is very good range. It sets up for things like 2S, which is probably one of his most important buttons. If you think your opponent is just going to swing the swing, it sets up for those certain things, as well as this is a very good button if your opponent is jumping. If your opponent is jumping, it's a very good tool. It's wonky. It's a very good tool to call them out on their jumps. And let's say they're not blocking and you get a nice little counter hit, you can get a nice little combo from it. Nice little combo for just an anti-air jab. It is one of his anti-airs. Again, the hitbox on it is wonky, so I wouldn't just throw it out there all the time, but it's definitely a thing that you will want to get used to. Now, close slash. And I need to change something real quick, so I need to explain. We'll put this on none for now. Close slash is it's probably his most important tool in this kit. What close slash is this is +1 on hit. So with it being +1, it allows you to go for certain frame traps, dash traps, like I'm doing right here. I know it's not called a dash trap, but that's what I'm calling it right now. It allows for you to maintain your pressure as much as you can, as well as it has other applications too. Prime example, if I set the opponent again to jump, it can be used as another anti-air if you see it coming. If you get under your opponent, you can see it as an anti-air, and if I hit with the anti-air again, because they're pressing buttons, I get a nice little combo. Now I'm keeping the combo simple for later. But 2S allows for you to just maintain your pressure on Sin, which Sin is all about pressure once he gets in. Other tools that are really solid is his 5K and his 2K. His 2K is -2, so a relatively safe low option in neutral. You will use this in neutral a lot. This is probably going to be like your 3rd most used normal in the neutral. as well as 5K is very good. Now it can high profile certain lows, not all lows. Nagariki, for example, if he 2S's and you try to 5K over it, it's going to hit you every single time. It's just going to clip you. It's the way it is. But on certain characters, they can do a low, and Sin actually can go over the low. So that's just something to take note of. But yeah, this is I believe this is 6 frames, this is 7 frames, this is -2, this is -3. So these are very good tools in the neutral. As you see, the range on both of these are really good. They're extremely good. They take up at least 2 character spaces both. At least 2 character spaces both. And again, just note how much space Sin can take with his normals. Now 2S. 2S God button. I believe this is like -7, -8. I'll put the correct annotation for you guys on the screen. But this allows for Sin, if my opponent just presses a button, if he just presses a button in neutral and I see it coming, I can whip punish from miles away. This is at least 3 to 4 characters length of a normal, and I can just follow up from there with things like Elka. I can not Elka, I'm sorry, Beat Driver. I can just follow up with different specials to just catch out my opponent. So you'll utilize this a lot. Things to take a note of: this is not a low. If you put it on switch guard, this is a mid. So if you didn't know, you don't have to cross block this. The problem with this is, if you don't cross block it and you think you can press a button, that's where the 50-50 comes in. Because now, at this range, I can already whip punish you for pressing anything. But if you want to stand guard and try to, let's say, jab, I can always L cut, or I can always call it out. Let's say they want to go for a low, and I can hoof stomp under it because I have so much range on this button. It's going to automatically whip punish you. So this is just something to take note of. Just a quick little thing. And then the last button I want to talk about that I feel like is a key button, because I don't feel like, well, I'll talk about his heavies all in one. This button right here, 5HS, it's a good button, relatively safe. It's -4 as far as I remember. The problem with this button is that it's not going to be used in neutral. You're not going to use this in neutral. You're going to use this as combo filler and or Oki setup if I get you in the throw. You're going to be looking for the second hit or the first hit, depending on how you feel. But I wouldn't necessarily use this in neutral because the windup is it's long. So this gives enough time for your opponent to see it coming and see speed. However, both hits, just to take notes, are true. They're natural. So your opponent cannot press out of this. This is a true block string. And again, you can always follow up with a normal, but just be extra careful because this one is kind of, I notice when I fight a lot of people, they know Elka is coming. This one is easier to tell what special is coming and be able to react to it accordingly. As well as 2HS, you're not going to use this in neutral at all. This is filler combo only. As you see, I cannot block. I believe this is like -11, I believe. Again, I have the annotations if I'm wrong. I mean, frame that if I'm wrong. You're getting punished for this. You have to follow up with this button, and even following up with this button means you probably still get punished if you don't follow up with the correct answer. But this button right here, that one right here, this button is relatively safe. I can react a little bit. I can block on time. I can walk back if I need to. 6HS is extremely good, and I'll go into its properties a little bit later when I start talking about FrameTrap. But this is a very good counter hit option. When you want to get a nice counter hit into big damage, you're going to be looking to hit that button. But those are his key buttons. I don't want to talk about his jump ins because his jump ins are really relatively, you're going to be using jump S a lot when you want to go in, and you're going to be using jump HS when you're looking for a counter hit. That's simply it. I don't really talk about his jumping normals, but let's go ahead and move it to frame traps. Alright guys, so now I want to talk about the close slash frame traps, because most of your frame traps are going to come from close slash. You do have 2 that I'm going to talk about that start from 5K, but the main ones you're going to use are from close slash. Now, I got my opponent on all guard, switch blocking, and then I have these options. I'm gonna take this to none for now, but these are the options that I have. It's gonna be crouching P, it's gonna be throw, and it's going to be crouching S. Now, in this situation, my opponent can't move. The first frame trap you need to learn, this is gonna be your pressure starter. It's just gonna be close slash, close slash. That's it. That's literally it. This is your pressure tool. What this does is, if your opponent presses late, and you know they press late, you go ahead and just smack them for free. And if you get a counter hit lifts in, you do get a free close slash, which is a lot of damage. So I would recommend working on trying to do micro dash into another close slash where you're not running to them where it's telegraphed, but you're close enough to get the close slash, because sometimes you will get far slash. It just takes a little bit of practice. So now that one's just easy to explain. Let's talk about all the different options that come from this. The first counter hit I'm going to put on is crouching P. We're going to start from crouching P and we're going to put this on throw, and I'll explain this one in a couple of seconds. So as you see, I can't even try to dash micro dash because I will get jabbed out if I try to do this. Well, what's the frame trap that we go for? We go for close slash jab. This is the first frame trap you want to use. This is used for people with 5 frame jabs and up that they want to just mash to get out because they don't want you running at them. So in that situation, you just close slash jab and you just stuff them out. Now, after you hit them with the jab, if you hit them with the jab, you can go into 6HS in that counter combos, and that'll lead into you going to beat driver and then just getting a nice 112, 121, depending on how you do it. It should be 112. Yeah, 112 fresh. So really good jab combo starter, real quick damage, a good way to check people that's jabbing, and it tells them to stop jabbing, and you can go right back in the close slash and the close slash. Now, with Chip and I believe Biking, who have 3 frame jabs that are very quick, what do? This is more of a universal tech. We're going to use 5HS in this situation. So we do close slash. We slightly delay the 5HS. Slightly. Because if you do it too quick, you get that. And if you do it too late, you get stuffed out. So I messed up the combo. But that's what you usually go for. The 5HS route is a lot easier to do. It does a lot more damage, as you just saw. I think it does upwards to 256, which is my max damage combo if I do it correctly. And with special, you can get even more. But that's what you're going to use against the 3 people with 3 framers that they just want to abuse the 3 framer. If you slightly delay it, it's going to catch the 3 framer every single time. Now, with that being said, what counters that? Well, you can get thrown out of it. That's the caveat. If you try to delay it and your opponent knows, they can just throw you out of this. Now, in this instance, when you get thrown out of it, you can either go back to jab or you can do close slash 6K. And close slash 6K leads into really good damage, especially in the corner. I believe, or no, I'm right. I believe there's no real decent combos from here yet, minus if you do TK, not TK, if you do car super for now. I'm still expanding on that aspect, but again, if you know your opponent is just going to try and throw you, this is a good time to get this button used, because this button is very amazing. Another situation you may want to go for that, and this goes back into my K versions of frame traps, is let's say your opponent wants to backdash. There's going to be backdash, and we're going to go ahead and utilize that crouching S as well. Let's say your opponent wants to backdash because they're in the corner and they're feeling pressure, right? You can go back into your running S, leading to that frame trap, is to go ahead and catch that backdash. You can also close slash 6HS. Now, without meter, you can't do much on this one. You can't really do too much. But even if you want to go K into this, that's fine. But these are just simple ways, simple frame traps that you can catch people with. And then the last one that I would say recommend to learn is just, again, 5K into 6K. Again, it catches back dashes. It doesn't catch it if it's center. If you're center, you definitely want to do 6K into this just to catch them. If you think they're going to back dash, you have to do it fast. If you think they're going to back dash, it'll just catch the back dash. But this doesn't catch it unless you're definitely going for close slash. That's the only time it catches it. But if you're going to do it with 5K, you definitely want to use 6HS right after just to catch them as a frame trap. And then they can't really press anything after that. Again, if I set my opponent to action 3 and I do the same frame trap, they get punished for it. They get punished for it nasty. Again, this one I wouldn't do it because obviously it's a heavier button. So specifically on this frame trap, they just die, and I messed that up. But as you see, those are just some of the frame traps. Again, I have the annotations on the screen. I gotta repeat it because people need to see the annotations. But now let's talk about the special moves and some combos. So when it comes to special moves, I want to talk about the least to most important. Least important, food. I don't think food is that important. It's mainly used as a kill frame in my opinion. It doesn't give back stamina. Yeah, you get stats, but the stats are so RNG, it's minuscule. What I'll use it for are situations like this, something like this. As I mess it up. In situations I can force my offense, as well as if I think my opponent is going to press or they've been shown they're going to press, I go for 2K 2D kill combo, kill frame, and then I'll go for an Oki setup. Right, that's what I would use this for. Other than that, I would never really use this. There's really no applications to use this except for a kill frame, unless you want to kind of fish for extra damage or fish for like health recovery. But even the levels that you get, you're playing RNG. You're hoping to get the same food over and over again in a span of seconds. So I personally wouldn't go for it. It's not my forte. I think this move needs a rework. But as a kill frame, it is definitely something that you can do. Now, second is DP. DP is good, but it's a defensive tool. It is good for if you hit dive kick, immediately having a combo to go into. Let me take it off on force. Having like damage you can go into from there. So it is good in that aspect, but you use dive kick so little, in my opinion. I barely use it. That combo is cool, but whatever. But DP is really good defensively. It is 2 hits. The problem with this move is if the opponent blocks, you're screwed. You're screwed. Like if they block the first hit, they can run under you, punish the second hit. Oh my Lord Jesus Christ. If they block the first hit, I'll put the counter hit on close slash. Right. They block the first hit, you just get punished. Even with a follow-up, you get punished. And it's not just Kai that can do this. Borderline, the whole cast can do this. I think the whole cast really can do this. So it's good. I wouldn't just throw it out to throw it out. Obviously, it's a fucking DP. Excuse my language. As a DP, I wouldn't just throw it out just to throw it out. I would be very careful of what strings I throw that into. I would do it in mostly strings that you can interrupt, but your opponent typically isn't going to change up their offense. Like, for example, I do it a lot on Nagoro Ryuki when he throws astral projections and I know I can DP out that situation. I'll do the DP right there. But it's one of his least used. Now, the third one I would say, and I got to change this up for a second, is his overhead. I think Hoof Stomp is good. It's middling because it really depends on your other two options to open up for you to use Hoof Stomp. This is -8 on hit, and it's -11 on block, I believe. Even you're going to have to use the follow-up for this if you're just going to throw it out. What you're mainly going to use this button for is combo filler. This is your main, when you go for the bread and butter, that's your main tool for the bread and butter. That's going to be your main tool for the bread and butter. That's going to be what links and allows you to do the dash cancel. But as an overhead, it is good to go over some lows. But I wouldn't just throw this out willy-nilly. Like, I just me personally, I would not just throw this out willy-nilly. Like, it does go over lows. It will call certain things out. But without a follow-up, it doesn't do as much as the next two that I'm about to talk about. Now, we got to talk about them. Elk Hunt is going to be your second most used, not your first. This is really good to use, but this has one fatal flaw. This goes under lows, is very good at whiff punishing someone, and it has a really good property of forcing a block and then forcing a free frame trap. If your opponent tries to press it, they try to walk forward, they try to jump out, it forces a frame trap. So this is really good. The fatal flaw that this has is that if I put my character on block all and then I put on counter hit and I put him on throw, the time it takes for you to hit is so minuscule. If I want to also put it on counter hit, let's not say throw, let's put it on crouch K, a low. If your opponent sees it coming because you're throwing it out too much, you can get stuffed out, and that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt. So that's the one fatal flaw of this move, is that you have to mix it in with Hoof Stomp. I think Hoof Stomp and Elk Hunt both complement each other. You need to get Elk Hunt started so Hoof Stomp can open up. And once that open up, you can go back into Elk Hunt and you just trade off. That's when you start getting mixy. That's when you start throwing in the fate with the real. And then, last but not least, this is going to be your most used button. Beat Driver is important. I know a lot of people say this isn't, they want Elk Hunt to be the most important move. No. Beat Driver is still his most important move in the kit because this covers so much ground. This helps out in zoning matchups. This helps you get to ranges that you could not get to. It obviously takes up about 4 to 5 character spaces worth, 4 to 5 characters worth of space. The move is good. The move is good. Now you do have to space it out because if you don't space it out at the right ranges, you can't get clipped by certain moves like Crouch and P. They will just smack you for it. But you find yourself using this move a lot. Now, I wouldn't use the dash with this. Obviously, it's not plus. But the follow-up with this is very good. I didn't talk about the follow-ups because typically you're always going to use a follow-up on block streams. But delay beat driver follow-up is really good. It's extremely good. I would use it. I use this a lot. You're going to use it a lot in your combos to push your opponent to the corner. It gives you the most bang for your butt. This move is just good. It's just good. I can't go any further. That move is just good. Last but not least, I want to talk about some simple combos you guys can work on. I know I talk about block strings and things like that, but I just want to keep it simple for people to get into this character. and that's gonna be it for this video. Now, if you want more detail, I feel like I gave as much as I could with what I had, the time that I had. If you want more details, twitch.tv/anappy is where I'm always at. You can always come in when I'm streaming, usually Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and come chat with me and just see what's going on. If there's anything that you want me to clarify, I can do it that way. But I gave as much detail as I could with this time that I have. So like, share, subscribe if you like it. I will be posting more on the channel. I promise you guys that. I have a lot of content that I have not used that I need to utilize. So other than that, guys, thank you for watching this video. I'm out. Peace.